Boy Peterson, Caitlyn Clark is participating in shoot-around this morning, going through warm-ups, then some non-contact drills with the second team. She hasn't officially returned to practice, I'm told, but this is her first time working with the team since her injury.
Caitlyn Clark just stepped back onto the court, and the entire WNBA is shaking in its boots. It's not just a rumor or a hope anymore, it's a reality. After weeks sidelined with a nagging right groin injury, the Indiana Fever star guard, the undisputed face of the league, is finally back in practice. The visual alone, Clark in her gear, moving with a purpose, a basketball in her hands again, is a sight the league has been desperately waiting for. Her presence, even just in warm-ups, is an instant seismic shift. Fans are rightfully asking the biggest question of the season. Is her return too soon, a dangerous gamble on a fragile body?
Seeing her out there, little passing the ball around, doing some calisthenics, getting the juices flowing. I know a lot of you are like, why come back? Why come back? Well, look, if she's back and she can get in the flow and she does need to come back, I think with several games to go to get back and try to find her first rhythm for the year, really and truly, getting a good, then yeah, they become very dangerous with a big three.
Or is it exactly what the Fever and the entire league need to save a season that's been spiraling without her? One thing's for sure, the WNBA brass, the rival players, and every single person with a vested interest in this league's product was not ready for this comeback. So, here's the scene. Caitlyn Clark finally stepped back on the court after weeks out with a right groin injury, and instantly, the WNBA lost its collective mind. Not because they didn't see it coming, but because deep down, everybody knows the league is built around her star power right now. Every single ticket sale, every TV rating, every viral highlight clip, every sold-out arena, Caitlyn Clark has her fingerprints all over it. Her absence has been a gaping wound, and now that she's back in the mix, even if she's just halfway healthy, it instantly changes the entire playoff picture for the Indiana Fever and, by extension, the entire league. The panic button just got smashed with a sledgehammer, and that panic is real. It's the silent, unspoken truth that without her, a huge chunk of the product's value just disappears. Let's be brutally honest here. When Clark went down with that groin issue, the narrative across the WNBA was practically written in bold, all caps letters, Indiana is cooked. And for good reason. Her injury wasn't just a minor blip, it was a serious issue that doesn't clear up overnight. The Fever, already held together by what felt like duct tape and prayers, were left completely exposed. They were already without key players like Sophie Cunningham, who had a season-ending injury, Sydney Colson, also out for the season, and Ari McDonald, sidelined with an injury of her own. It looked like a team in complete, total survival mode rather than one fighting for a playoff spot. Without Clark's signature shooting, her elite vision, and, most importantly, her uncanny ability to command the attention of three defenders every single possession, the Fever's offense fell apart completely.
I think it is a good sign. So let's check this out. This is the schedule. 6 p.m. tonight, the Lynx. Yikes. All right. Guys, we're in must-win territory right now. For the playoffs, we are in must-win. The Storm, got to be Tuesday night. I don't think so on this either. However, 4 days later, basically 6 days from now, against the Sparks, and this is a big game because the Sparks are right there with us on the in the playoff race, and they hold tiebreakers. By the way, so do the Valkyrie. All right, we do have one win. I believe it's one win over the Mercury, and then we've got a Sky team that we should beat, a Mystics team that we should beat, but you can't. I mean, who knows? I think they beat us in the last game. And then we close out the regular season with the Lynx. We're not making the playoffs without Caitlyn Clark. There. Yeah, I said it. We're not making the playoffs without Caitlyn Clark.
They were basically running an offense that belonged in a YMCA scrimmage, a disorganized, inefficient mess of hero ball and turnovers. That's not even hyperbole. The team's struggles were a direct result of her absence, and it became clear to anyone watching just how dependent the Fever are on her skill set. Her absence exposed every single flaw on this team, and the other players who were being hyped couldn't step up and fill the void. The season was slipping away, and everyone, from the fans to the front office, knew it. Now, fast forward to this week, and the tone changes completely. Suddenly, videos start popping up from Fever practice. There she is, Caitlyn passing the ball around, jogging, shooting a little, going through her warm-ups. She wasn't officially back in full contact drills yet, but she was close enough. And that was all it took. That small glimmer of hope, that single visual of her on the court again, was enough to have everybody asking the same question: when she's suiting up? The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Fans instantly went wild, flooding comment sections with their wildest predictions, creating endless memes, and, in some cases, having full-blown panic attacks about her return. For the fans, this was everything. They were tired of watching a lifeless offense, of seeing their team blow leads in the fourth quarter. They wanted their star back. And the league? They were biting their nails down to the cuticle because this is the one player they can't afford to lose, and also the one player they need on the court to keep eyes glued to the product. Seeing her out there was more than a good sign. It was a promise. A promise that the boring, Clark-less games were coming to an end and that the excitement, the ratings, and the buzz were about to return in full force. But with the excitement comes the most important question of all: should she even come back this season? That's the debate blowing up right now, a battle between two very different camps. On one hand, you've got the shut-it-down camp, arguing that Clark's long-term health is worth way more than some rushed, desperate playoff push. They're quick to point out that groin injuries have a reputation for lingering. They can become a chronic issue, flaring up again and again if not given enough time to heal properly. The last thing Indiana or the league needs is Clark re-injuring herself because she tried to carry a broken roster through the last few weeks of the season just to sneak into the playoffs. It's a valid concern. Is a single playoff series worth risking a 15-year career? On the other hand, you've got the ride-or-die camp led by Fever fans and, let's be honest, the WNBA marketing team. They're screaming that the season is meaningless without her. They want her back, not just to make the Fever relevant again, but to keep those arenas full and those cameras rolling. They believe if she can get on the court and get back in her rhythm with a few games to go, the Fever become a very dangerous team. The logic is simple. The WNBA doesn't sell playoffs with a 7th or 8th seed. They sell the story of Caitlyn Clark. And without her, that story dies before it even gets to the postseason. The panic isn't just about her health. It's about the very real and immediate ripple effect on the playoff picture. Let's say Clark comes back next week against the Sparks, a team that is just below the Fever in the standings and is fighting for the same playoff spot. That single decision instantly changes the Fever's odds of sneaking into the playoffs. A game that was a coin toss without her suddenly becomes one where the Fever have a significant advantage. And guess what? The Sparks, the Valkyries, and even the Sky are in the exact same race for those final few spots. They don't want to deal with Clark returning in these last few weeks. The league might act neutral on paper, but deep down, they're sweating bullets because a Clark-led Fever team in the playoffs means more viewers, more money, and more drama. Without her, it's just another year of the Liberty versus the Aces, with fans outside New York and Vegas asking, why should I care? But with her on the court, even if she's at 80% speed, her gravity instantly makes the Fever watchable and competitive again. Defenses shift, spacing opens up, and Aaliyah Boston can finally breathe because she isn't being triple-teamed every single possession. Kelsey Mitchell, who has been grinding all season, suddenly has more room to operate. Her presence single-handedly fixes the biggest problems on the Fever's roster, and that's why her return is so terrifying for everyone else. Now, let's talk about the real panic, the panic that has nothing to do with the scoreboard and everything to do with the politics of the league. This is phase 2 of the Clark effect. First, the referees. You think the same WNBA officials who've been under fire all year for letting Clark get hit and shoved like she's in a boxing match are happy about her return? Please. Every single time she steps back on the court, the microscope is on them. If she gets fouled hard and they miss the call, the outrage is instant. Social media will light up with slow-motion clips in seconds. The league knows Clark's safety isn't just about keeping her healthy, it's about protecting the one player a huge new segment of fans is watching the WNBA for. And the refs, who've already proven they're in over their heads half the time, are under immense pressure to suddenly become competent. Good luck with that. Second, the haters. Other players and coaches, like Cheryl Reeve, who have been throwing shade at Clark and the Fever all season, now have to face her again. They've been comfortable talking slick while she's been sidelined, but now the easy nights against a depleted Indiana squad are officially over. The panic across the league isn't just about her health, it's about knowing those easy wins are gone. The critics who've been complaining about the hype and downplaying her impact will now have to watch her prove them wrong, and the league is caught in the middle of it. This isn't just a comeback, it's a reckoning. This is where the story gets really interesting. Caitlyn isn't wired to sit out if she feels she can contribute. This is the same player who carried Iowa through wars every March, who never ducked competition, who thrives when the pressure is stupid high. If she feels she can play, she's going to push for it. And honestly, that's why people watch her. She doesn't shy away from the spotlight, she embraces it. That's just her DNA. The question is, will the Fever medical staff let her, or will the league step in, quietly nudging Indiana to protect their golden goose from herself? This is a mess, really, and it's hilarious when you think about it. Other stars miss games and nobody outside their fan base notices. But Caitlyn Clark touches a basketball in warm-ups and the entire league shakes. That's why WNBA in panic isn't an exaggeration. It's the reality of how dependent the product has become on her presence. The risk is real, but the reward is undeniable. She's not just playing the game, she's rewriting the rules of engagement for the entire league. And that's why the panic is real. So what do you think? Should she play? Or is it better to sit it out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.